Hello and welcome back. My name is Colton from Ankeny Van Builds, and today we're going to be going over how to do all the plumbing in the van so that you can get water running out of your sink with a 12-volt pump. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So here is the faucet I decided to go with. I got it off Amazon. I think it looks super cool, super modern. Ties in with all the black and the wood really well. And underneath, this is what it comes with. So it's got these braided cables. It's got a 3/16 inch interior diameter, and then this hose. I also got a soap dispenser, not included in the plumbing system, but you know, it just looks cool. So I have that. And I will be providing a link to everything that I use and everything that I bought in the description down below, so please make sure to check that out because it's a lot of stuff and very particular things. And if you've ever gone through the fitting section in Home Depot, you'll know that it is extremely painful to try to find the right fittings and adapters. So I've done all of that for you, and it'll be in the description below. You can thank me later. So starting with everything you'll need to buy, let's just start from the beginning. So where your fresh water is going to come from is this 7-gallon freshwater tank. I then bought these shark bite connectors. There's two sides, there's a male end and a female end. Also this 1/2 inch food grade tubing and some hose clamps. But the way this works, this will be screwed in and another hose will be connected to the top, and when you want to remove it, it just pops right out. Obviously it won't bounce out like that, but that way you can remove this, go fill up the water somewhere else, come back and cap it back in, and you won't have any water leaking out. So water will come from this through a nylon, 1/2 inch nylon tube through your strainer, and then from the strainer into this 12-volt SureFlow pump. And on the outside of this, I'll have another 1/2 inch nylon tube hose clamped to this, going from there into this T connector. So water will go in through this, and then I have my hot and cold water section of the faucet. Since I won't have hot water, I will connect both ends of the faucet, hot and cold, to this T adapter using hose clamps for all of them. And then, so this is what it looks like in the store of Home Depot. I got two of them, which are these guys right here. So it's a 1/2 inch hose barb, which will go into that nylon tube, and then thread onto this adapter here. So it goes into one of these. So these are actually compression couplings. I'll let it focus. So they're actually compression couplings. So this, it comes and it looks like this. It's got one of these little, I guess, nipples on it. So once you get these off, this thread right here actually fits right in on that 3/16 faucet thread. So you screw this into the back of this adapter, then this screws into the faucet, and that's how you get water out of the faucet into the sink. And then for the drain, I have this flexible RV drain. So this is a strainer for the sink. It'll go through here, it threads right onto the bottom, through that and into our gray water tank. And then I also bought all of this 1/2 inch food grade nylon tube. I hope all that made sense going through it. I'm sure it'll make more sense once I start actually piecing it together. But that's the list of things that you'll need for this whole system to work. And now I'm going to start piecing them together and hoping it works. So a general rule of thumb when you're dealing with all these fittings is when you're attaching these, so anything that is threaded, you use what's called Teflon tape, plumber's tape, whatever you want to call it. And anything that has a hosed barb, like this, I'll let it focus, like this, you put the nylon tube over it and screw it down with a hose clamp. And with this Teflon tape, you put it on maybe 2 or 3 times around, hand tighten it, and then you get a crescent wrench or some sort of wrench to really tighten it in there. That should help you prevent any leaks. Okay, let me show you how I wired this up real quick. So I got this rocker switch, And the way these work is, so on one end of it there's a brass prong. So that brass prong goes to your negative wire, and then your middle prong goes to your battery positive. So this one goes directly to your power source. This one, the negative, also goes directly to your power source. And this one, furthest from that brass fitting, goes to whatever you're trying to power, which in this case is the pump. So I have those drilled. They come through over here like so, and then the positive and the negative. So here's the positive that connects to the pump on that third prong furthest from the brass one. Then we have the negative from the pump itself. So that negative also goes, the negative portion of your bus bar. Then inside of this electrical tape is the positive and the negative going directly to the battery itself. So I drilled a hole through here. Then I wired it through that and into my bus bar. So I have the battery positive that goes in the middle of that 3-prong switch, and then I have the 2 negatives up here that go into the negative terminal of the fuse block, and then the 15 amp fuse. I hope that made sense to you guys. I apologize for not filming that in real time. I've honestly never worked with a 12-volt pump before, so I was kind of learning it as I went, but I figured I'd give you guys the rundown real quick of how I did it. So I hope you guys learned something from that. I also lied to you at the beginning of the video. I said that the hose goes directly over the 12-volt pump on these threads. I lied, it's actually too big. So what I did is I bought this fitting at Home Depot. This is what the package looks like. So it's a 1/2 inch interior diameter to 1/2 inch hose barb right here. So now I'll have a hose that goes from this into this hose barb right here, and then that will complete this water circuit. I also bought one for this side on the strainer so that that has the hose barb as well. Okay, so now that the suction side of the whole sink assembly is done being plumbed together, now it is time to start putting our drain assembly. So here we have our strainer that came with the sink, and below it I have already attached the RV P-trap that I bought. It just threads right onto the bottom. I put some Teflon tape on the threads before I threaded it on. This strainer also comes with this guy right here, along with a rubber gasket and a cardboard material. So that cardboard goes between the metal and the rubber. That way when you're tightening this piece on underneath, it doesn't buckle this rubber gasket and it prevents any leaks. So what I'll do before putting this in is I have some silicone that I'm going to be putting on, and I will just do a bead right along this bottom portion right here. That way it creates a nice seal, this hole on the inside, preventing water from getting around it and underneath and spilling water into the under compartment of your sink. So I'm going to go ahead, I just grabbed this caulking gun. So I got my silicone gooped up around there. I go ahead, feed this through the bottom just like this, line it up, hold it in place, and now with my gaskets here, I go ahead and I thread this on underneath. And I find this step a lot easier to do before the sink is installed. That way you're not kind of crawling underneath and reaching up above to try to hold it in place while you're tightening it. So I do this step first, and then I install the sink to the countertop. So now to install the sink itself into the countertop, it comes with these little clips, and they secure right into these grooves provided in the sink. So when we put this on over the countertop, we then screw this part right into the wood itself. But before we do that, I'm going to put a bead of silicone around the sides. That way no water can get underneath it. And that also will help secure it to the countertop itself. And whenever I'm working with silicone, I always make sure I have paper towels handy with me because silicone tends to always make a huge mess. So if you can wipe it up right away, it tends to make the process go a lot smoother. But with that bead around the sink, now it's time for the moment of truth of actually putting it in. So let's go ahead and do that. One thing I did have to do is those little clips I put in before, they were hitting against the countertop, so I had to actually push them, kind of force their way in and work around them just so they would go in. But the sink went in nice and smooth. I had some silicone, I guess, goop out on the sides, so that's why I have all the paper towels handy. So I had those, wiped them up right away so it wouldn't leave a mess. Now I have to go underneath and screw those clips into the countertop, and then this sink will be set. And if you look under here, you can see that they're kind of in some awkward spots to try to get the drill into, but I'll try my best and I'm sure I'll be able to get all of them. Good thing I have that flip down door so I can get better access to the back side of this sink. Okay, I probably made one of the funniest mistakes you can make in plumbing these sinks. So I went to do a test run, I turned the pump on, and then check this out. I was like, huh, why is there no water coming out? I did the whole thing backwards. It's sucking air in and blowing air into my water jug. So I'm gonna go ahead and reverse all that, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I fixed that problem, but now unfortunately I'm running into another problem, and it's with those tubes, that 1/2-inch silicone food grade tube. I can't recommend using that because check this out. So even with the sink open, all right, I'll come over here and I'll flip the switch. Watch this. See how it starts to balloon up? And then when you turn the pump off, it still goes. So if I had this valve closed and I ran that pump, it would just almost explode that tube. So I'm not going to be able to recommend using that. I'm going to go to the store, buy some maybe braided tubing or something that is meant for the suction side of things, because that's going to explode if I keep using that. So make sure you don't use those tubes in that part. Again, this is my first time using and putting in one of these pumps, so I'm learning as you guys are. So I'm going to go ahead and try to fix this. Okay, so I'm back from the store and I have replaced all of this push side of this 12-volt pump, not the suction side. So not the suction side, but the side that pushes the water through the lines. I've replaced it all with this braided nylon tube, and that works much better. So let me go ahead and we'll flip it on. So the pump is on, got water coming out. Nothing looks like it's about to blow up. This faucet can change between whatever this mode is and this shower head mode. And then also, once you're done, you can go like this, and then the pump automatically shuts off, which is a feature I actually did not know about. So that's pretty cool. You can leave the pump on, just have this off, and then once you want it on, turn it on, and water will come out. It takes a little second for it to turn off, but once it's off, it's off. And in case you guys were wondering, when I turn the pump on, it uses about 38 watts, which honestly is way less than I expected. So these are actually pretty energy efficient. So that's pretty cool. And now what I'm doing is I'm just gonna keep this sink capped off and keep water in it. That'll put some weight along the edges here where I put the silicone to really anchor it in place. And other than that, I think this sink is basically done. So just to reiterate, because I can't stress it enough, do not use that silicone tubing for the push side of that pump, because you will have an explosion. I'm glad that I was checking for leaks while the water was running and noticed it and was able to shut it off in time, because that is a serious problem and I don't want you guys to make that same mistake. So braided, I'll show you what it looks like. So I got this braided vinyl tubing. It's in the plumbing section of Home Depot. You should be able to find it no problem. So please make sure you use this so you don't have any problems. So if you guys didn't notice, look what I just got in the mail. Got the first batch of some Ankeny Van Build apparel, some t-shirts, some sweatshirts, some women's sweatshirts. Also, if you check out the back, we have the Ankeny Van Build logo on the back of it. So if you guys want to help me out and support this channel, I will leave a link in the description below, and you can also check it out on my Instagram. So this is where I'm going to end this week's video. If you guys enjoy the content where it's kind of a no BS approach, where it's strictly how-to videos, and I don't have like a super long intro, and I don't make like cinematic shots that just honestly waste your time, I'm here to help you build vans for yourself, DIY. If you enjoy that kind of content, please let me know by liking this video, leaving a comment down below, and subscribing to my channel. Also, if you enjoyed me showing all the mistakes that I made, because I don't want you to feel like you're alone out there. I make mistakes all the time, and I want to help you guys get through your van build. So on that, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.